Hello, everyone. This is the Free American Press with your host, Alexander Horat. And today we're going to be talking about a subject that's very close to my heart, and that is freedom for Venezuela. So, we're seeing a lot of U.S. involvement. They've actually destroyed some ships off the Venezuelan coast that supposedly are in the business of selling illegal drugs and narcotics and bringing that into the United States. So, one thing that we saw that recently was the Nobel Prize, which is a very important prize internationally in the world, was just granted to Maria Machado, and she's basically been the person fighting Maduro, the dictator of Venezuela, in that country. So they gave her the Nobel Peace Prize first and foremost for her efforts to advance democracy in Venezuela. So that's what they said there uh, in regards to that. So we're seeing a lot of things happening. Maduro secretly offered U.S. vast resources to avoid war, but Nobel winner Maria Machado vows to go bigger. So basically, what Maduro was offering was oil to the United States if we don't get involved in doing a regime change. But it seems like we're more likely to have a regime change because right now, very little oil is being shipped to the United States. It's actually most of the oil is being shipped to Iran. They have a huge influence in Venezuela, and I just want to show you this. So Venezuela is the highest and largest, has the reserves in the world of oil, even bigger than Saudi Arabia. But their crude oil exports are only $4 billion, while Saudi Arabia is 181 billion. And then you can see all these other countries, even Libya, which has been torn by war, has larger 31 billion export, and they have a much smaller reserves in oil in the actual country. So we see Venezuela is really off kilter. They have had huge inflation. They had millions of people flee to Florida and the United States because they couldn't eat in Venezuela. There's no food, and there's a lot of problems in Venezuela. So, so the Nobel Peace Prize has been given to Maria Machado, how far would Trump go to help her? So basically, she dedicated her Nobel Peace Prize to the people of the United States and to Donald Trump. And I think the reason why she dedicated on Twitter this was so in hopes that Donald Trump will provide military aid in doing a regime change in Venezuela. So let's look at some of the benefits of a regime change in Venezuela that would be good for the United States. If they put somebody on on the Venezuelan president, such as Maria Machado, then we see the U.S. be more favored. The United States will start importing more oil from Venezuela. Actually, Venezuela was one of the top uh, importers to the United States of oil before Hugo Chavez gained power and destroyed Venezuela econ economy. So we would see a benefit to that. We'd get more oil. It's a closer country. We'll be having a closer country on our side in that region, which would be helpful. And let's look at some of the disadvantages of going to war with Venezuela. The war could be costly. There could be many lives killed, and there could be a lot of carnage in Venezuela and the United States in a war, depending on how, like, there's always the question if the Venezuela just send, if America, if the United States just sends troops to Venezuela, then will the people really fight against the United States liberating Venezuela from an oppressive regime? So that's another thing to put into account as well. So I have mixed feelings on this. I think a regime change in Venezuela could be good if the United States put somebody who wasn't corrupt or at least less corrupt and provided more freedom for Venezuelans. I think that would be great, and that would have us a great new ally where we wouldn't need to rely on the Middle East so much for oil anymore. We would be reliant on the North and Southern Hemisphere, South America. So I see some benefits to that. But is the United States going to do a regime change and put a good person, restore, republicanism, democracy to Venezuela? And will the people learn their lesson? Will we just get rid of this dictator and then after we restore democracy, will we just get another dictator like Hugo Chavez become president of Venezuela? So there's a lot of things to consider, but as my mom's a Venezuelan and I'm Venezuelan, it's really up in the air for me to see what happens in regards to that. And I just want to know your guys' thoughts on this, on a possible regime change in Venezuela and the implications of that. You can leave your comment on my channel's video, and please share this video with your friends and tell me your thoughts on this. Thanks again for watching. Goodbye.